On November 22nd, 2024, 200 city workers in Richmond Hill, Ontario went on strike. The strike resulted from a disagreement over wages and the treatment of seasonal and contract workers. The city had proposed wage increases of 3.25% in 2024, 3% in 2025, and 3.25% in 2026, which the union felt was inadequate, especially for its lowest paid members. The union also demanded a fairer compensation model and a permanent full-time status for seasonal workers who lacked benefits. The workers' contract had expired in March 2024, and the city was unable to reach an agreement before that deadline. The strike disrupted services such as arena maintenance, snow clearing, and graffiti removal, but did not impact emergency services, waste collection, or community center programs. The city and the union had very different views on wages and working conditions, with the union pushing for more equitable pay to address affordability issues for workers living in the city. The YorkRegion.com, an online publication that focuses on news within the York region, published an article on the issue on Friday, November 22nd, 2024. I chose this issue because it provides a clear example of a municipality facing significant challenges related to labor management, employee relations, and procurement practices, all of which are key concepts covered in our course. It highlights the importance of effective human resource management, labor negotiations, and the balance between maintaining essential services and managing budget constraints. The article also highlights how labor disputes can affect staffing levels and employee morale, as well as a municipality's ability to deliver services to its residents, which ties directly into the course's focus on employment conditions in the public sector, which are regulated by a legislative framework that includes the Employment Standards Act of 2000, which outlines the basic rules about minimum working conditions in Ontario and deals with such matters as minimum wage, overtime pay, hours of work, etc. The issue is linked to several key concepts from the course covered throughout the semester, such as the city's handling of the labor dispute. For example, the city's handling of the labor dispute is a prime example of human resource management and the negotiation processes between employers and employees. It highlights the importance of understanding employee needs and market competitiveness. Our course textbook covers the nature of motivation in the workplace, and while financial compensation at times can be less of a priority for some workers, adequate compensation is still a priority for many employees. Inadequate compensation, therefore, that does not keep abreast of inflation rates can be demotivating for some employees. As the union pointed out, the city's wage offer, which the city claimed was in line with current bargaining trends at the time, was not enough to meet the demands of the workers, particularly the lower paid members who struggle to cope with the cost of living in the city. The failure to reach an agreement led to service disruptions, underscoring the challenges the municipalities face in balancing employee compensation with fiscal constraints. The strike highlights difficulties in recruiting and retaining qualified workers. This ties into course concepts about the employee engagement, satisfaction, and retention strategies. If wages are uncompetitive or workers feel undervalued, turnover rates can increase, which will affect the quality of services the municipality can provide. The union's push for permanent full-time status for contract workers further highlights the issue of job security and its impact on employee morale. Municipalities like Richmond Hill must operate within budget constraints while ensuring fair compensation for its workers. The city's proposal to adjust hourly rates for certain positions reflect an effort by the municipality to remain competitive in the labor market. However, the union felt the proposed wage increases were still not enough. The procurement of goods and services, including labor, is a critical part of managing a municipality's budget, especially when considering long-term costs and the potential need for additional resources because of disputes or unrests. The strike disrupted several city services, which then affected residents and businesses. This is an example of how labor disputes can impact the delivery of essential services, which is a critical part of the role of municipalities in governance. While emergency services were unaffected, non-essential services like maintenance and snow clearing were delayed, which led to dissatisfaction among the public and strained community relationships. While the motivation behind the actions taken by both the union and the municipality was financially motivated, it was also rooted in fairness and employee welfare concerns. The union's primary motivation was to secure better compensation for its members, particularly those with lower wages who were finding it increasingly difficult to live in Richmond Hill. The union's call for permanent full-time status for contract workers was also motivated by a desire for greater job security and benefits. These motivations were clearly financial driven, but they are also tied to a broader issue of fairness and social equity for workers. The municipality, on the other hand, was motivated by the need to manage public funds efficiently. The city's proposed wage increases, while seemingly reasonable, were based on what it considered to be current bargaining trends and were aimed at balancing fiscal responsibility with the goal of providing competitive compensation. This situation demonstrates both positive and negative applications of the course concept. So, for example, for positive aspects, the city tried to adjust the hourly rate for certain positions to reflect market rates, which is a positive application of human resource management principles aimed at improving compensation to remain competitive in the labor market. The city's focus on maintaining essential services like waste collection and emergency services while working through the labor disruption is a positive demonstration of prioritizing public welfare. However, the failure to negotiate effectively and to reach an agreement before the deadline led to the strike, which can be seen as a failure in labor relations management. The lack of a compromise, particularly regarding the treatment of seasonal workers and wage fairness, suggests a missed opportunity for a more collaborative approach to problem solving. The disruption of non-essential services and the potential negative impact on residents highlight the negative consequences of a breakdown in labor negotiations which affected public service delivery. Last year's labor dispute in Richmond Hill provides an example of the challenges municipalities face in managing labor relations, employee compensation, and service delivery. It highlights the delicate balance between maintaining a competitive compensation structure, adhering to budget constraints, and ensuring that essential services are not disrupted. The motivations behind the actions taken by both the union and the municipality reveal the complex interplay of financial, political, and social factors that influence decision-making in public sector management.